Is Ryan Tannehill being disrespected by the national media? Is it fair? Is Ryan Tannehill primed to have a breakout season, or is he on a one-way flight out of Nashville? Let's talk about it after the intro. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Bonafide. This is Section 240, a channel dedicated to the Tennessee Titans, but from a fan's perspective. So, Titans Film Room on Twitter, also known as Justin Graver, coming from 440 Sports and the Music City Audible podcast, which is a banger. You probably should be listening to that. He dropped a video talking about how the national media's perspective about Ryan Tannehill has formulated this offseason. Now, you're probably saying, well, what video are you talking about, Bonafide? That's perfectly fine. I am going to drop the video link in the description. And I need you to watch that video because we're going to be talking about it a lot. But go over there, watch that video, like it because Justin did a great job on it, and then come back. Don't worry about it. I'll wait. I'm not going to go anywhere. Go ahead, watch the video. You're back. Okay. Great video, right? So once I started watching that video, I started to get some thoughts in my mind. So let's talk about it a little bit. So let's talk about what happened, what transpired last year. There were four big things that really occurred that really kind of derailed the Tennessee Titans as a whole, but specifically when we think about Ryan Tannehill, kind of derailed him altogether. Let's talk about it. Injuries. So we all know that Ryan Tannehill is a pretty tough dude. He, as long as he's been the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, he's been relatively healthy. He's been dinged up here and there, things like that, but nothing really that would take him out of the game until last year. So last year he had a high ankle sprain, and that basically was the icing on the cake when it comes to injuries for us. Everybody was dropping like flies from left to right, but Tannehill was the one guy that was pretty much the constant, but even he got hurt. And that high ankle sprain that he re-aggravated really took him out for the season. And that's when we had to start rotating with Malik and Josh Dobbs. So part of the injuries were part of the reason why I believed, and a lot of people believe, the season wasn't as good as it could have been. We were on we won 7 games, and then we ended the season basically on a losing streak. I don't think, it was pretty bad. We ended up 7-10, and in a win and you're in game in the playoffs against the Jaguars, we lost. And the thing about it is that had we had Tannehill for some of those key games down the stretch, we probably wouldn't even been in the win and you're in game. We probably would have won the division again, but the injuries took him out. So, if he plays in those games, we are in the playoffs last year. Now, the next thing, which kind of led to these injuries, and that's going to be a recurring theme through this video, injuries. So the offensive line, they had injuries. Ben Jones was injured. I think Nate Davis, when he was here, he was injured. Like everybody on the offensive line. We lost Taylor Lewan basically for the entire season. So he was injured. And the thing about it is that how could we forget about the turnstile that was Dennis Daly? Dennis Daly, to this day, I don't understand how Dennis Daly to this day has a job in the NFL. But I guess the Arizona Cardinals like turnstiles for their oft-injured quarterback. So that's not my problem anymore. 17 was getting his block knocked off, okay? I'm gonna just tell you that right now. And basically the hits started adding up and he couldn't do anything. That line was so bad that Keith Carter got the boot after the season. And I believe, it was well-deserved. Was his hand tied? Yeah. But, some of those decisions that he was making could have been like a little bit better. First of all, anybody with a functioning brain should have known that Dennis Daly shouldn't be anywhere near a professional NFL football field. But hey, I don't get paid by the Titans. I'm just a fan. So yeah, that was, point number 2. And then we go back and think about it. And here's that word again, injuries. When Tannehill was healthy, none of the wide receivers that he had were healthy. And none of the ones that were healthy were any good. You think about it, he had no one to throw the ball to. And even Mike Vrabel alluded to that himself, that He was like, who are we going to throw the ball to? This is a family channel, so I'm not going to repeat what Mike said. But who are we going to throw the ball to? So the thing, injuries. When Cal Phillips was injured. Burks in and out of the lineup. When he was starting to get his groove, got hit, illegal hit, and I don't even understand why that dude didn't get fined, but he didn't. But an illegal hit at the Eagles game basically took him out for the rest of the season. So with those guys gone, we were left with Cody Hollister, Chris Conley, NWI, and I think you kind of know how that went. I mean, it was, yeah, everything was basically on Derrick Henry. And I guess they, tied down and didn't even understand who Chiga Conqueror was or why he was on the team, because never used him. Now, that segues into this point. Todd Downing was absolute basura. Now, a lot of the things that we blame on Ryan Tannehill can be attributed to Todd Downing and his utter just failure at being a even I wouldn't let Todd Downing call my backyard flag football games. That's how bad. I'm not even talking about high school games. I'm talking about Thanksgiving, we didn't ate turkey, flag football, two-hand touch in the backyard. I ain't letting Todd get nowhere near the quarterback to discuss plays, not even on my hand. That's how bad Todd Downing was at being an offensive coordinator. Now, he got the boot too with Keith Carter, and miraculously, they both ended up in New York. Keith Carter and Todd Downing are now with the New York Jets. So good luck to all New York Jets fans, because you're going to need it, because if Todd Downing and Keith Carter are anywhere near your offense, it's going to be a little stanky, all right? So Todd had no clue of how to maximize the talent that we had on this team. Play actions, we ain't using that. Naked bootlegs, we not using that. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but I think Todd might have been drunk during our games instead of after our game. Though all those factors played a part in like the terrible season that not only the Titans had, but the terrible season that Ryan Tannehill had. So you think about it, the national media is looking at that and saying, hey, well, Ryan Tannehill is below all these quarterbacks. In Justin's video, he mentioned that Ryan Tannehill was behind Jordan Love. Jordan Love ain't even really, this is his first year. How could you put him under? He's been to the playoffs. Justin Fields, I don't even want to talk about it. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest Ryan Tannehill fan. That's why this video was so important, because it really kind of shed a light on, hey, Ryan Tannehill, like Justin said, even in Justin's video, he said, he's not an elite quarterback, but he can get you to the playoff if everything around him works well. Let's think about this. Now, before the season began, Ryan Tannehill, it was hashtag anyone but 17. But something changed. So a lot of things changed, but there was one key thing that changed. Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel were able to get one DeAndre Hopkins. And that, combined with the perceived breakout or offseason that Treylon Burks had, kind of got me to thinking. So let's look at this from a glass half full perspective. Some people call him 17, but Ryan Tannehill is an above average quarterback when given time. This is the same guy. So Tannehill stands are going to say that this is the same guy that took over from Marcus Mariota, and in the next couple of seasons got us to an AFC championship game. And now you have to look at it from this perspective. We've got some new pieces on the offensive line. Brunskill, Dillard, we got Skoronski, Brewer switching from guard to center. We picked up Hubbard. So we got some pieces on the offensive line that kind of need to gel together. But then you got a new OC, Tim Kelly. I talked about it in my D-Hop video. Tim Kelly is talking about moving that ball down the field through the air. So now you got that. You got Tim Kelly that has had experience with DeAndre Hopkins, has kind of knows the players, been in the system. You got a second year. This is year number 2 for Burks and for Phillips. Put them in the mix with NWI and Chris Moore, who's been showing out during practice. Chris Moore has been showing out. So I think you kind of know what your wide receiver room is going to look like. And then, obviously DeAndre Hopkins. Could we see a version or form of 2020 Ryan Tannehill? I mean, that boy, Ryan Tannehill back in the day, 2020, was dropping dimes, son. I was Team Tannehill all the way. This is the same guy that was doing, what is it, the Tanny roll in the end zone. Why? Because he was getting in there so much. He had to come up with a touchdown dance. And it was just like the air Tanny, I don't know how he does it, but the air Tanny, that's what we're gonna call it, air Tanny. So he was doing the air Tanny. So, I'm thinking from a glass half full perspective, if Ryan Tannehill and this offensive line and these weapons and this offense as a collective can get rolling, and we can score more than 28 points per game, because we didn't do that last year. I think we had the games we won, we didn't even score over 30 points. And you got to score in this league to win games. You got to have a defense that can keep you in the game and an offense that can score. And we had one of those last year, and that was pretty good run defense. So, maybe 1.5, half of one, whatever. So if he can do this, then, the Ryan Tannehill might be out here like Birdman, put some respect on my name. You know what I'm saying? He could be. But for every glass half full, there's a glass half empty. You can't have the sunshine without the rain. And we really relying on a lot of ifs. If the offensive line does what it's supposed to. If Treylon Burks steps up to the potential we know he has. If KP is healthy. If Kelly is a good OC. So we rely on a lot of ifs for this revenge season to take place. That's a lot of things that have to go right for Tannehill to have this proverbial great, bounce back. And really, a lot of people that watch the Titans will tell you the regular season isn't why they are off or not on the Tannehill bandwagon. It's really the playoffs, where it haunts him. It's like Ryan Tannehill, when he gets to the playoff, he morphs into what I used to call him 17, And I think that's where a lot of the disrespect comes from, is because in the NFL, the regular season is great. You get there, the regular season, your postseason play is where your legacy or your legend is kind of made. We think of Eli Manning, dopey quarterback, but he's got 2 Super Bowl rings, postseason. Peyton Manning, postseason. But then you think about it. Think about Dan Marino, superb quarterback, no Super Bowls. Only appeared in one, I think. His legacy is intact, but, it's always that, you never won a Super Bowl. Same thing with Warren. Great quarterback, never won in the NFL. So the postseason is where your kind of legacy is made, and that is where he is falling flat. I'm not even going, I'm going to bring it up. This is going to be the last time we bring it up. I'm trying not to do it again. But that Bengals game, the first offensive play was an interception. And the last offensive play was an interception. And we had an interception sprinkled in between that. And that is where a lot of people kind of just say, hey, man, I'm off this train. I'm off this bus. I don't want to get with Ryan Tannehill. So in this negative outlook, Ryan Tannehill is really going to have to prove himself in the postseason on the big stage and show that he is more than capable of leading this team to the next level, to the AFC South Championship, to a division playoff game win, to the AFC Championship game, and maybe possibly into a Super Bowl. If he wants to do that, he's going to have to do that, or otherwise this conversation is going to take a sharp left. And we're going to be talking about who between Willis and Levis, which is a conversation in itself, is going to be the new next quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. So I said all that to say this. This season, I am all in on the Tannehill Revenge Season Tour. I'm buying tickets at all the stops because I think the team has done enough. I think Rand and Mike, with the changes they've done in personnel, getting analytics in there, getting weapons, getting targets, changing the philosophy of how the Titans are going to go play this year. I think, he has the potential to show the nation that, hey, I'm not this 25, 27, 28 quarterback that you ranking on your list. I'm more closer to the like 13, 12, 11. You know, you might be able to sneak me into a top 10 quarterback. And he has everything at his fingertips to do it now. Now, to show that he's worth the contract that he got and lead this team to a deep playoff run, you know. But, you know, maybe, you know, we won't get ahead of ourselves. But in the comments, before I wrap up, in the comments, you tell me, are you pro Tannehill or no Tannehill? Do you think he's going to do, do you think he's going to do good this season? You know, put your comments below. Let's have a discussion about it. But as always, thank you for stopping by Section 240. I'm glad to have you. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, subscribe, and share this video to your friends. Let's have a dialogue. Is this revenge season? Are we going to be putting respect on Tannehill's name this year? Or are we going to be talking about Will Levis and Malik Willis for an extended period of time? Only time will tell. But until next time, tighten up.